The projector screen glowed bright against the dim ballroom. 300 faces turned toward it. My hands were shaking, but I pressed the button anyway. The first image appeared, my husband Robert, with her, the young curator from the museum. Their lips pressed together in the parking lot behind the gallery. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. My daughter Ella stood frozen at the head table. Her white rehearsal dress glowed against her warm brown skin. She looked at me, her hazel eyes wide with confusion. "Mom?" Her voice cracked. "What's happening?" But I couldn't stop now. Not after what I'd found. Not after 6 weeks of peeling back layers of lies. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," I whispered. "But you need to see this." The next slide appeared. Bank statements, wire transfers, forged documents. Robert stood up. His pale face went from pink to ash white in seconds. "Julia, stop this." His voice was sharp, commanding. "You're making a scene." I looked at him. This white man I'd loved for 32 years. The father of my child. The man who'd held my hand through my mother's funeral. Who'd kissed me every morning before work. All of it, every single moment, built on sand. "No, Robert," I said. My voice steady now, clear. "I'm revealing one. But let me back up. Let me tell you how I got here. How a black woman who spent 30 years restoring damaged paintings ended up exposing the biggest forgery of all. My own marriage. 6 weeks earlier, I woke at dawn that Tuesday morning. October light filtered through our Georgetown townhouse windows. Soft, golden, the kind of light that makes everything look like an oil painting. I'd always loved mornings like this. I reached up and adjusted my silk bonnet. My locks needed retwisting. I'd been too busy with Ella's wedding planning to make it to my stylist. Robert's side of the bed was already empty. Not unusual. He was an early riser. Vice President of Corporate Finance at Ashford & Klein. Important man. Busy man. Or so I thought. I slipped on my robe. Silk. A gift from Ella last Christmas. The deep purple looked beautiful against my dark brown skin. Walked downstairs barefoot. The hardwood was cool under my feet. The coffee maker was already burbling. Robert stood at the kitchen island. Phone pressed to his ear. His back to me. I stopped in the doorway. "I know," he said. His voice low. "Careful. But we have to be smart about this. For the family." He paused. "Listening. No. She doesn't know anything. And she won't." My stomach tightened. He turned then. Saw me. His expression shifted immediately. Smooth. Easy. Like changing a mask. "Hey, honey." He ended the call. Slipped the phone into his pocket. "Morning." His blue eyes scanned my face. "Looking for something." "Who was that?" I asked. "Casual. Light. Just Mark from accounting." He poured me coffee. Added cream. 2 sugars. Just how I liked it. Budget meeting prep. Boring stuff. He kissed my forehead. I smiled. Took the cup. But something felt wrong. Like when you're restoring a painting. And you notice the brushstrokes don't match. Small. Almost invisible. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. It was the same instinct that had helped me succeed in a field where black women were rare. Where museum directors had looked surprised when I walked in. Where collectors had asked if I was qualified before trusting me with their $1,000,000 pieces. I'd learned to trust my gut. It had never failed me. "Ella's final fitting is today," I said. Changed the subject. 2 o'clock at Madame Lawrence. "Can't make it." Robert grabbed his briefcase. "Client lunch. Running long. You've missed the last 3 fittings." I know. He squeezed my shoulder. "But this wedding's in 6 weeks. I'll be there for the big day. That's what matters, right?" He was gone before I could answer. The front door clicked shut. I stood in the kitchen. Alone. Coffee growing cold in my hands. That phone call played in my mind. Over and over. She doesn't know anything. And she won't. Who was he talking about? Me? My studio was on the top floor of our townhouse. North-facing windows. Perfect light. No direct sun to damage the paintings. I'd been a professional art restorer for 28 years. Started at the Smithsonian. The first black woman in their restoration department. I'd faced skepticism. Doubts. "Are you sure you're in the right place?" More times than I could count. But I proved myself. Over and over. With skill. With patience. With excellence that couldn't be denied. Eventually, I went freelance. Museums. Private collectors. Insurance companies. They all came to me. Because I saw things others didn't. The hidden signatures, the overpainting, the damage concealed beneath layers of varnish. I made broken things whole again. That morning, I was working on an 18th century portrait. A white woman in a blue dress. Her face serene, peaceful. The painting belonged to a collector in Virginia. Water damage from a basement flood. I positioned it under the magnifying lamp. My dark fingers moved carefully across the surface. And there it was, a crack, so fine you could barely see it, running from the woman's temple down to her collarbone, hidden beneath layers of old restoration work. Someone had tried to conceal it decades ago. But cracks don't disappear, they just wait. I traced it with my finger. This crack changed everything about the painting. It meant the canvas had been under stress, tension, for years, maybe decades, all while looking perfect on the surface. My chest felt tight. My mother's voice came back to me, something she'd said before she died. In that hospital room in Southeast DC, where I'd grown up. Baby girl, you got a gift for seeing the truth. Don't ever let anyone make you doubt what you see. Not in art, not in life. She'd been talking about my career. The white colleagues who questioned my expertise. The clients who were surprised I was so good. But now, wasn't that exactly like my marriage? Perfect on the surface, but cracks underneath. I pushed the thought away. Ridiculous. Robert and I were solid. 32 years. We'd navigated everything. An interracial marriage in the 1990s. The stares. The comments. His family's initial disapproval. We'd built something real. Something strong. Or so I thought. I pulled out my phone. Opened our joint bank account. Everything looked normal. But something made me scroll back. 6 months. A year. There. Small cash withdrawals. $800. $1,200. Always under $2,000. Never the same amount. Never the same day of the month. My heart started pounding. In art restoration, we call this intentional concealment. Small changes, spread out over time, so no one notices the pattern. I screenshot every transaction. Then I heard the front door. Mom? Ella's voice. Bright. Happy. You ready? I closed the banking app. Took a breath. Put on my smile. Coming, sweetheart. Madame Laurent's bridal boutique was on Wisconsin Avenue. Small, exclusive, expensive. Ella stood on the fitting platform. The dress was stunning. Ivory silk, delicate lace. Against her caramel skin, she looked like a goddess. My baby girl, 24 years old, about to get married. She had my full lips. My high cheekbones. But Robert's hazel eyes. His straight nose. She was beautiful. The best of both of us. Oh, baby. My throat tightened. You're beautiful. You think Marcus will like it? She turned, checked her reflection. Her natural curls were pulled back in an elegant updo. Marcus Blake, her fiancé, 29, investment banker, white, handsome, charming. Robert loved him, maybe too much. He'll love it, I said. How could he not? Madame Laurent pinned the hem. A French woman with sharp eyes and gentle hands. Ella's smile faltered, just for a second. What is it? I asked. Nothing. It's just. She hesitated. Dad's been acting weird lately. My pulse quickened. Weird how? I don't know. Distracted. He and Marcus keep having these private conversations. They stop talking when I walk in. She laughed. Nervous. I'm probably being paranoid. What do they talk about? Business stuff, I guess. Marcus mentioned something about Dad. Helping him with an investment opportunity. She shrugged. Boys and their money talk. Madame Laurent stood. All done. You can change now, dear. Ella stepped down from the platform. Headed to the dressing room. I stayed on the couch. Dad helping Marcus with an investment. Cash withdrawals. Secret phone calls. The crack in the painting flashed through my mind. Hidden beneath layers of restoration work. I pulled out my phone. Texted my best friend Eva. Need to talk. Can you meet tonight? The reply came immediately. Wine and investigation. My favorite combo. 7 p.m. at Busboys and Poets? I sent a thumbs up. Eva Washington. We'd met at Howard University. Both of us scholarship kids from Southeast DC. Both of us determined to make it. She'd become an investigative journalist. Washington Post. She'd broken stories on corruption. Fraud. White-collar crime. Now she was retired. Wrote mystery novels. But she still had her instincts. And her contacts. If something was wrong, Eva would help me find it. That evening, Robert came home late. How was the fitting? He asked. Loosening his tie. Perfect. Ella looked beautiful. Good. Good. He poured himself scotch. Marcus called. Wants to grab dinner Friday. Just us guys. Another business meeting? Something like that. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Investment opportunity. Could be big for both of us. Both of you? Well, I'm helping him get started. Mentoring, you know? He's going to be family. There it was again. That smooth explanation. Perfectly reasonable on the surface. But underneath, a crack. What kind of investment? I asked. Art actually. Private sales. High-end pieces. He sipped his drink. He knows I appreciate fine things. Thought I could advise him. My blood went cold. Art. That's nice, I said. Kept my voice light. Bringing your two worlds together. Exactly. He kissed my cheek. I'm beat. Heading up. I waited until I heard the bedroom door close. Then I went to his study. Robert's office was off limits. Always had been. Work confidentiality, he'd said. I'd never questioned it. Until now. The door was locked. But I knew where he kept the spare key. Inside the grandfather clock in the hallway. Hidden behind the pendulum. My hands shook as I retrieved it. I unlocked the door. Slipped inside. Closed it softly behind me. The desk was immaculate. Leather blotter. Mont Blanc pen. Family photo from Ella's college graduation. The three of us smiling. Looking perfect. I opened the top drawer. Files. Contracts. Nothing unusual. Second drawer. Third drawer. Same. Then I saw it. A locked metal filing cabinet in the corner. Behind his coat rack. I'd never noticed it before. Or maybe I had. Maybe I just never questioned it. Like so many things in this marriage. I tried the desk key. Didn't work. I checked the drawer again. Felt underneath. There. Taped to the bottom. A small silver key. The filing cabinet opened with a soft click. Inside were manila folders. Dozens of them. Each labeled with names I didn't recognize. I pulled one out. Anderson Collection $2.3 million. Inside were photos. Paintings. Old masters. Detailed provenance documents. And authentication certificates. All signed by Dr. Helena Strauss, Chief Curator of European Art at the National Gallery. My heart stopped. I knew Helena. We'd worked together for years. She was brilliant, ethical to a fault, one of the few white women in the field. Who'd treated me as an equal from day one. She would never authenticate a painting without rigorous testing. But something about these documents looked wrong. The paper stock, the signature, the formatting. I pulled out my phone. Took photos of everything. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Coming down the stairs. I shoved the folder back. Locked the cabinet. Pocketed the key. The study door opened. Robert stood there. His face unreadable. Julia. His voice was soft. Dangerous. What are you doing in here? My mind went blank. Robert stood in the doorway. His expression unreadable in the dim light. My voice came out hoarse. I was looking for the checkbook. For Ella's caterer. They need a deposit. Silence. He walked toward me. Slowly. Each step deliberate. His tall frame seemed to fill the room. Towering over me. The checkbook's in the kitchen. Where it always is. Right. Yes. I forgot. I moved toward the door. Tried to keep my breathing steady. Sorry. I should have remembered. He caught my wrist. Gentle. But firm. Julia. He looked down at me. Those blue eyes searching my face. Is everything okay? Of course. Why wouldn't it be? You seem stressed. Distracted. His thumb rubbed my pulse point. Could he feel how fast my heart was racing? This wedding has you wound up. Just mother of the bride jitters. I forced a smile. Tried to look up at him with the trust he expected. You know me. He studied my face for another moment. This was a test. I knew it. 32 years. I'd learned to read him. When to push. When to retreat. Right now. Retreat. Get some rest, he said finally. Released me. You look tired. I nodded. Walked out. Somehow made it to the bedroom without running. Inside, I locked the door. Pressed my back against it. My whole body was shaking. I looked at myself in the mirror. My dark brown skin looked ashen. My locks were coming loose from their tie. I looked scared. And I hated it. My grandmother had raised me after my father left. Strong black woman. Worked 2 jobs. Put food on the table. Never let anyone see her sweat. Head up, Julia, she'd say. We don't give them the satisfaction. I straightened my spine. Lifted my chin. I pulled out my phone. The photos I'd taken were still there. Proof I hadn't imagined it. But proof of what exactly? I needed Eva. The next morning, Robert left early for work. I waited 30 minutes, then drove to Ella's apartment in DuPont Circle. She lived in a converted brownstone. Second floor, the place she'd share with Marcus after the wedding. I used my emergency key. Ella? I called out. It's Mom. No answer. She was probably at her job. Junior architect at a firm downtown. Long hours. I felt guilty for what I was about to do. But I had to know. Ella's apartment was small, neat. Wedding planning materials covered the dining table. Seating charts, vendor contracts, sample menus. I moved to the bedroom. Her wedding dress hung in the closet, wrapped in plastic from Madame Lawrence. I took it out carefully, laid it on the bed. The hem needed adjusting. That's what Madame Laurent had said. I'd offered to do the preliminary pinning at home. Ella had agreed. I examined the fabric, running my dark hands along the seams. The contrast of my skin against the ivory silk. And then I felt it. Something in the hidden pocket. The kind sewn into the side seam. For tissues or lipstick. I reached in, pulled out a folded piece of paper. No, not paper. A receipt. My breath caught. It was from Cartier, the jewelry store on Connecticut Avenue. Dated 1 week ago. 1 platinum diamond necklace, $47,000. Paid cash. Client Ashford and Klein corporate account. Recipient Marcus Blake. My hands started shaking. Robert's company. Marcus's name. A $47,000 necklace. But why was it in Ella's dress pocket? Unless Marcus had bought it. Hidden it there. Planning to give it to her as a wedding gift. That made sense. Romantic even. Except, Ashford and Klein didn't give personal gifts through corporate accounts. That was fraud. Tax evasion. And the cash payment. $47,000 in cash? No one carried that kind of money. Unless they were trying to avoid a paper trail. I took a photo of the receipt. Put it back exactly where I found it. My mind was racing. Robert had mentioned investing in art with Marcus. High-end pieces. Private sales. What if it wasn't legitimate? What if my husband was helping my daughter's fiancé launder money? Through our family. Through Ella's wedding. I felt sick. That afternoon, I met Eva at Busboys and Poets on 14th Street. Our spot. Where we'd met for 20 years. A black-owned space where we could talk freely. She was already there, sitting in a corner booth. 2 glasses of wine waiting. Her natural hair was freshly twisted. Gray streaks at her temples. She wore her reading glasses on a chain. You look terrible, she said. Thanks. I slid into the seat. Downed half the glass. Okay. Eva pulled out a notebook. Old habit. Tell me everything. I did. The phone call. The bank withdrawals. The files in Robert's cabinet. The Cartier receipt. Eva listened, taking notes. Her face growing more serious with each detail. How much total? She asked. The withdrawals. About $87,000. Over the last year. Always cash? Yes. And these authentication certificates. You're sure they're fake? Not sure. But they look off. The paper. The signature. Helena Strauss is meticulous. These look rushed. Eva tapped her pen. And Marcus works where? Goldman Sachs. Investment banking. She made a note. That's a lot of access to high net worth clients. People with money to move. Art to buy. You think they're working together? I think we need more information. Eva pulled out her phone. I still have friends at the Post. And a guy the first no at the FBI white-collar crime division. The FBI? My voice rose. Other patrons looked over. I lowered it. Eva, I don't want to. Relax. I'm just asking questions. Off the record. She squeezed my hand. Her brown skin warm against mine. But Julia, if what you're thinking is true. If Robert and Marcus are running some kind of art fraud scheme. Then my daughter is about to marry a criminal. And your husband is one too. The word hung between us. Criminal. Robert, my husband of 32 years. The white man who'd married me when his parents said it was a mistake. Who'd held my hand at Ella's birth. Who'd sat in the front row when I got my fellowship at the Smithsonian. A criminal. What do I do? I whispered. Eva's eyes were hard, determined. We get proof. Real proof. Then we burn it all down. She leaned forward. And Julia? Don't let him gaslight you. Don't let him make you think you're overreacting. You know what you saw. I nodded. Because that was always the risk. A black woman accusing a white man. Even her own husband. Who would people believe? I needed evidence that couldn't be denied. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed next to Robert, listening to him breathe. This man who'd been my whole world. Was any of it real? The vacations, the anniversary dinners, the quiet Sunday mornings reading the paper together. Or was I just another painting? Beautiful on the surface, hiding cracks underneath. My phone buzzed. A text from Eva. Found something. Call me tomorrow. I stared at the ceiling until dawn. The next day was Ella's bridal shower. 25 women. My living room. Finger sandwiches and champagne. My sister-in-law Karen was there. Robert's sister. She'd warmed to me over the years. But I remembered the early days. The sideways comments. We just want what's best for Robert. As if I wasn't. Ella opened gifts. Smiled. Laughed. She looked so happy. Her natural curls were styled beautifully. She wore a soft pink dress that complemented her skin tone perfectly. And I sat there, knowing what I knew, unable to say a word. Marcus's mother, Patricia Blake, sat next to me. Elegant, refined, old money, pale skin, perfectly styled blonde hair. Your daughter is a treasure, she said. Her smile was warm but her eyes assessed me. Still, after all this time, Marcus is so lucky. Thank you. He seems like a wonderful young man. Oh, he is. So ambitious. So smart. She sipped her champagne. Robert has been such a mentor to him. They're working on something big together. My smile felt like plaster. Really? Yes. Some kind of private art acquisition fund. Very exclusive. For select clients. She leaned in, lowered her voice. Between you and me, Marcus says. They've already made over $2 million this quarter. $2 million. In 3 months. That's wonderful, I managed to say. Patricia patted my hand, her pale fingers on my dark skin. Our families are going to do great things together. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face. My reflection stared back at me. My locks hung loose around my shoulders. My dark skin looked gray with stress. $2 million in 3 months. Through art sales. That wasn't normal. That wasn't legal. My phone rang. Eva, I need to see you, she said. Her voice urgent. Now. We met at her house in Alexandria. Eva's home office looked like a detective's war room. Cork boards. String. Photos pinned up. Sit down, she said. I did. She handed me a folder. My contact at the FBI ran a preliminary check. Nothing official. Just a favor. I opened it. Inside were surveillance photos. Robert. Marcus. Meeting with various people. Restaurants. Hotel lobbies. Art galleries. Who are these people? I asked. Mostly legitimate art dealers. But 3 of them are known for moving questionable pieces. Paintings with unclear provenance. Suspected forgeries. She pulled out another document. And this. This is the big one. It was a bank statement. Not our joint account. A separate one. In Robert's name only. The balance was $1.7 million. Where did this come from? I breathed. Marcus isn't just buying art. He's setting up shell companies. Moving money through them. And Robert is helping him. They're using Ashford and Klein's corporate accounts as cover. But why? Robert has a good salary. We have savings. Why would he risk everything for this? Eva's expression softened. Julia, I hate to tell you this. But there's something else. She handed me one more photo. Robert, coming out of a hotel. The Hay Adams, downtown, with a woman, young, beautiful, white, long dark hair. They were holding hands. My stomach dropped. Her name is Isabel Moreau, Eva said quietly. 28 years old, curator at the Corcoran Gallery. Specializes in European paintings. My world tilted. How long? I whispered. At least 6 months. Maybe longer. I stared at the photo. This woman, this white woman, touching my husband. All the old fears came flooding back. The ones I'd pushed down for 32 years. Was I ever enough? Or was I just something different? Exotic? A phase? The money isn't for investments, I said. Voice hollow. It's for her. Probably. And Julia. Eva hesitated. There's one more thing. What else could there possibly be? She pulled up something on her laptop. Turned it toward me. It was a birth certificate. Father Robert Michael Cameron. Mother Claire Lee. Child Sophie Cameron Lee. Date of birth August 15, 2008. I couldn't breathe. He has another daughter, Eva said softly. She's 16 years old, lives in Baltimore with her mother. Chinese-American woman. Robert's been sending money, $3,000 a month. For 15 years. 15 years. Ella was 24, which meant, when Ella was 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, playing soccer, learning piano, doing homework at our kitchen table. Robert had another child, another daughter, and I never knew. What is she? I whispered. Black? White? Asian? Mixed. Chinese and white. So he had one black daughter with me. One Asian daughter with another woman. What was I? A collection? A diversity portfolio? Julia. Eva's voice seemed far away. Julia, breathe. But I couldn't. All I could see were the cracks. Spreading, widening, destroying everything. I drove home on autopilot. The city blurred past me. Streetlights, traffic, people living normal lives. My hands gripped the steering wheel so hard they ached. Robert had another daughter, 16 years old, Sophie. The name echoed in my mind. I pulled into our driveway. Sat there, engine running. Our house looked the same. Warm light in the windows. The porch light Robert always left on for me. Everything looked perfect, but it was all a lie. I looked at myself in the rearview mirror. My dark skin, my locks, my full lips. Had he ever really loved me? Or was I just another acquisition? Another piece in his collection? The successful black wife. Proof he wasn't racist. Proof he was progressive. While he cheated with a white woman. While he had a child with an Asian woman. I felt sick. I turned off the car. Went inside. Robert was in the living room. Watching the news. Glass of scotch in his hand. Hey, honey. He smiled. How was the shower? I stood in the doorway. Studied him. This white man I'd loved for 32 years. Who'd given me a daughter? A home. A life. Who was he really? It was nice, I said. My voice sounded strange. Distant. Ella got beautiful gifts. Good. Good. He turned back to the TV. I'm glad. I went upstairs. Into our bedroom. Locked the door. Then I sat on the floor of the closet and cried. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet tears. Falling onto my dark hands. For the marriage I thought I had. For the trust that was broken. For the life that was crumbling. And for the girl I used to be. The one from Southeast DC who thought love could conquer anything. Who thought she'd proven everyone wrong by marrying him. When the tears stopped, I washed my face. Looked in the mirror. Took off my bonnet. Let my locks fall free around my shoulders. My mother's voice came back to me. Something she'd said before she died. Julia, you're a restorer. You see the truth beneath the surface. Don't ever let anyone make you doubt what you see. Not in art. Not in life. They'll try, especially them, but you trust yourself, baby girl. I took a breath. She was right. I was a restorer, and it was time to do what I did best. Find the truth, no matter how ugly. The next morning, I called the National Gallery. Helena Strauss's office, please. One moment. Helena and I had worked together for years. She was brilliant, thorough, honest to a fault, one of the good ones. Who'd seen past my skin color to my talent? Julia, her voice was warm. How wonderful to hear from you. How's that 18th century portrait coming? Good, almost done. Helena, I have a question. Professional question. Of course. What is it? I pulled up the photos from Robert's files. The authentication certificates. Do you ever authenticate pieces? Outside official channels? For private collectors? No, never. Everything goes through the museum's authentication committee. Full documentation, lab testing, provenance research. What about for corporate collections? Investment funds? Same process. Even more strict actually. Because of liability issues. She paused. Why? Is something wrong? I've seen some certificates with your signature. But they look off. Silence. Julia, someone's forging my authentication? I think so. That's a federal crime. Art fraud. Forgery. Her voice went hard. Send me photos. Now. I did. She called back 10 minutes later. These are fake. Definitely fake. The signature's close but wrong. The museum seal is from 2015. We changed it in 2018. And these registration numbers don't exist in our system. My heart sank. How many pieces? Based on what you sent? At least 12. Probably more. Worth how much? Millions. Julia, where did you get these? I closed my eyes. I can't tell you yet. But I will. Soon. This is serious. People are being defrauded. I know. I'm working on it. With help. Be careful. Her voice softened. And Julia? I'm sorry you're dealing with this. She knew. Of course she knew. Helena was brilliant. Thank you, I whispered. That afternoon, I went to the Corcoran Gallery. I told myself I was there to see the new exhibition. Impressionist landscapes. But I was really there to see her. Isabelle Moreau, the white woman who was sleeping with my husband. I found her in the European wing, standing in front of a Monet. She was beautiful, late 20s, dark hair, pale skin, elegant. She wore a simple black dress, pearl earrings, professional, sophisticated, young, white, everything I wasn't anymore. Excuse me, I approached her, watched her eyes take me in. My dark skin, my locks, my African print scarf. I saw the moment she categorized me. Visitor, not colleague. I have a question about this piece, I said. She turned, smiled, professional but distant. Of course. How can I help? The brushwork here. I pointed to the painting. It seems unusual for Monet. You have a good eye. She looked surprised, reassessing me. Actually, this is from his later period. After his cataracts developed, the brushstrokes are broader, less defined. I'm a restorer myself. Julia Cameron. Recognition flashed in her eyes. Shock. Then fear. She knew my name. Oh, Julia Cameron. Yes, I've heard of you. Her voice was too bright now. Nervous. Your work at the Smithsonian was legendary. Thank you. And you are? Isabelle Moreau. Curator here. We shook hands. Hers was soft, delicate. Mine was strong from years of detailed work. Do you consult with private collectors? I asked. Casual. Authentication? Acquisitions? Something changed in her expression. Careful now. Sometimes. Why do you ask? My husband is looking into art investments. I thought I might recommend someone. Your husband? Her voice was too high. Too interested. What's his name? I looked her dead in the eye. Robert Cameron. He works at Ashford and Klein. Her pale face went white. I see. She took a step back. I'm sorry. I have a meeting. It was nice to meet you. She walked away quickly, almost running. I watched her go. She knew Robert. Of course she knew him. And now she knew that I knew. Good. That evening, I met Eva again. This time at her house. Private. Secure. I called an old friend, Eva said. FBI White-Collar Crime Division. Art Fraud Unit. What did they say? That there's been whispers about a scheme. High-end forgeries. Fake authentication. Money laundering through art sales. But they haven't been able to pin it down. No solid evidence. I have evidence. I pulled out my phone. Showed her everything. The fake certificates. Helena's confirmation. The shell companies. Eva's eyes widened. This is enough. Julia, this is enough to start a federal investigation. But what about Ella? Her wedding is in 4 weeks. If this breaks now, it's going to break eventually. Better now than after she's married to Marcus. I knew she was right. But the thought of destroying my daughter's happiness, on what should be the happiest time of her life. There's another way, Eva said slowly. What? We document everything, build the case, then we expose it publicly. At the wedding. At the wedding? Think about it. Everyone will be there. Marcus's family, his business associates, Robert's colleagues, 300 witnesses, full accountability. That's cruel. It's justice. Eva's face was hard. They're using your daughter's wedding to legitimize their fraud. They're using her. Using you. They deserve to be exposed exactly where they feel safest. I thought about it. The projector for the slideshow. We'd planned to show photos of Ella growing up. Sweet memories. What if instead? The rehearsal dinner, I said slowly. The night before. That's when we do it. Why then? Because Ella won't be legally married yet. She can still walk away. No divorce. No scandal attached to her name. Just a cancelled wedding. Eva nodded. Smart. We'll need solid evidence though. More than photos. We need financial records. Communications. Proof of intent. I can get into Robert's computer. His office. It's risky. So is letting this continue. We sat in silence for a moment. There's something else, I said quietly. The other daughter. Sophie. Does she know about us? Eva shook her head. I don't think so. The mother, Claire Lee, she's been very private. Takes the money. Stays quiet. She should know. Sophie should know she has a sister. Julia, one thing at a time. But I couldn't stop thinking about her. This girl, 16 years old, half-sister to my Ella. Did she look like Robert? Like Ella? Did she wonder about her father? Why he wasn't there for birthdays? School plays? Graduations? Or maybe she didn't know he existed at all. Either way, she deserved better. They both did. The next week, I played the perfect wife. I made dinners, asked about Robert's day, smiled, all while taking photos of every document in his office, every email on his computer, every text message I could access. It was shockingly easy. 32 years of marriage meant I knew all his passwords, his routines, his blind spots. He never suspected a thing. Why would he? I was Julia, stable, trusting, devoted, the perfect black wife, not threatening, not angry, not suspicious, everything he needed me to be. Eva worked her contacts, FBI, financial crimes investigators, art fraud experts. We built the case piece by piece. And it was damning. Robert and Marcus had created an elaborate scheme. They'd buy legitimate paintings at auction. Mid-tier pieces, $50,000 to $100,000 each. Then they'd create fake provenance. Link them to famous collections. Get forged authentication from Helena Strauss and other respected curators. Then sell them to private collectors for 5 times the price. Sometimes 10 times. The buyers thought they were getting museum-quality pieces. Investment-grade art. They were getting sophisticated forgeries. And the money went through shell companies, offshore accounts, then back through Marcus's investment fund. Clean, legal-looking, perfect, except it was all fraud. And they'd used Ella's wedding account as one of the conduits. Her savings, her trust fund, money I'd set aside for her future. They'd run dirty money through it, cleaned it, moved it. My daughter's wedding was a money laundering operation. 2 weeks before the wedding, Robert came home with champagne. "What's this?" I asked. Celebrating. His smile was huge, genuine. "Marcus and I just closed a big deal." "Really big? How big?" $5 million. Private collector in Dubai. Purchased 3 pieces. Rembrandt, Caravaggio, Van Dyck. My blood went cold. $5 million. For fake paintings. "That's wonderful," I said. Poured the champagne. We toasted. Robert pulled me close, kissed me, his pale hands on my dark skin. The contrast that used to thrill me. Now it made me sick. "I couldn't have done this without you," he said. "Your support, your stability, you're the foundation of everything." I looked into his blue eyes. He believed it, actually believed it. In his mind, he was providing for us. Being ambitious, successful, the fraud, the lies, the white mistress, the other daughter, none of it registered as wrong. He'd compartmentalized so completely that he could kiss me with a clear conscience. That's when I knew there was no saving this marriage. No forgiveness possible, because you can't forgive someone who doesn't think they've done anything wrong. And you especially can't forgive someone who sees you as just another prop in his perfect life. Eva called me at 2 a.m. "Turn on your computer. Check your email. Now." I crept out of bed. Robert was snoring softly, exhausted from another late meeting. In my studio, I opened my laptop. There was an email from Eva. Subject line, everything. I clicked it open. My screen filled with documents. Bank records, wire transfers, communications. But it was the last attachment that made my hands shake. A video file. I plugged in headphones, pressed play. It was security footage from the Corcoran Gallery. Dated 3 months ago. After hours. Robert and Isabel. In her office. They were kissing. Passionate. Urgent. His pale hands tangled in her dark hair. Then they moved to the couch. I wanted to look away. But I forced myself to watch. Because I needed to see it. Really see it. The way he touched her. The way he looked at her. With a hunger he hadn't shown me in years. Maybe ever. The video ended. I sat there, numb. There was another file. Audio recording. I clicked it. Has no idea. Marcus's voice. "She's completely clueless." "My mother-in-law?" Isabel laughed. "Yeah, she's sweet, but not exactly sharp." My chest tightened. "Hey." Robert's voice now. "Be nice. Julia's a good woman. Then why are you here with me?" Silence. "Because she's not you." His voice was soft. Intimate. "She's safe. Predictable. Comfortable. You're exciting. You make me feel alive. And when the wedding's over? What then?" Then we take the money and disappear. Dubai, the Cayman Islands, wherever you want. What about your wife? Your daughter? They'll be fine. Julia has her art restoration. She'll survive. She always does. That's what she's good at. Surviving. Harsh. Realistic. Look, I married her when I was young. It seemed revolutionary. Edgy. Marrying a black woman in the 90s. He laughed. But that was 30 years ago. People change. I've changed. Do you regret it? Regret Ella? Never. But the marriage? It ran its course. Why not just divorce her? Community property. She'd get half. Plus she knows too much about my business dealings. Better to keep her close until this deal closes. Then we disappear with everything. More sounds. Movement. Then the recording ended. I sat in the darkness, staring at nothing. My grandmother's voice came back to me. Something she'd said when I was young. Baby girl, don't ever let a man make you smaller. No matter how much you love him. You stay big. But I hadn't stayed big. I'd made myself smaller, quieter, more acceptable. For 32 years. Not anymore. There was a knock on my studio door. Julia? Robert's voice. Sleepy. You okay? It's late. I closed the laptop. Wiped my eyes. Just working, I called back. Couldn't sleep. Come to bed. You need rest. In a minute. His footsteps retreated down the hall. I looked at my phone. Texted Eva. How did you get this? Her reply came immediately. Friend at gallery security. And Marcus's assistant. Black woman. She suspected something. Gave me access to his phone backups. Said she was tired of watching white men get away with everything. It's enough? It's everything. FBI wants to move on this. But they'll wait until after the rehearsal dinner if you want. I thought about Ella, my beautiful daughter, 24 years old, in love, planning her future, about to marry a criminal. With her father's blessing. I thought about Sophie, the 16-year-old daughter Robert had hidden. Supported in secret, never acknowledged. I thought about myself. 32 years of marriage. Of trust. Of building a life together. All of it built on lies. And racism. Don't forget that part, Julia. He'd married me as a statement. Kept me as convenience. Planned to leave me when I was no longer useful. We do it at the rehearsal dinner, I typed. Public. Witnessed. No escape. You're sure? I looked at the frozen image on my screen. Robert and Isabel. Entwined on that couch. I'm sure. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of my life. I helped Ella with last-minute wedding details. Seating charts. Menu tastings. Flower arrangements. I smiled. I laughed. I played the role. The role I'd been playing for 32 years. The acceptable black wife. Not too loud. Not too angry. Not too much. All while Eva and I prepared the presentation. Every document. Every photo. Every recording. Organized chronologically. Clearly labeled. Impossible to deny. We practiced the timing. The reveal. The escape routes. Eva had contacted the FBI. They'd be present. Plain clothes. Ready to move when the evidence was shown. We'd also contacted Patricia Blake. Marcus's mother. She deserved to know what her son had become. She'd been horrified. Devastated. But to her credit, she'd agreed to attend. To bear witness. I'm so sorry, Julia, she'd said on the phone. Her voice breaking. For everything. For the way we treated you in the beginning. For not seeing this. It was the most honest conversation we'd ever had. The hardest part was not telling Ella. I couldn't. Not yet. Not before the rehearsal dinner. She needed to see it herself. With 300 witnesses. So she'd never doubt. Never wonder if I'd exaggerated. Never let Marcus talk his way back into her life. The night before the rehearsal dinner, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, watching Robert sleep. His face was peaceful, relaxed. He had no idea what was coming. Part of me felt guilty. Cruel even. But then I remembered. The fake paintings. The stolen money. The affair. The hidden daughter. The way he talked about me. She always survives. That's what she's good at. And I felt nothing but cold determination. At 3 a.m., I got up. Went to my studio. The portrait I'd been restoring was finished. The woman in the blue dress. The crack was still there. I hadn't hidden it, just stabilized it, made it part of the painting's story. Because some damage can't be erased. Only accepted. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. My locks loose around my shoulders. My dark skin. My full lips. I looked like my mother. My grandmother. Strong black women who'd survived worse than this. I would survive too. But this time, I wouldn't just survive. I would thrive. I packed up my tools. Wrapped the painting carefully. Tomorrow, I'd return it to the collector. Close that chapter. And open a new one. The rehearsal dinner was at the Four Seasons. Ballroom overlooking Georgetown. Crystal chandeliers. White tablecloths. Roses everywhere. 300 guests. Both families. Robert's colleagues. Marcus's business associates. Everyone who mattered. I wore a deep purple dress. My locks were styled in an elegant updo. Gold earrings. My mother's. I looked beautiful. Powerful. Ready. Ella looked stunning in a white cocktail dress. Radiant. Happy. Her natural curls perfect. Her caramel skin glowing. Marcus stood beside her. Handsome. Confident. They looked perfect together. Robert gave the welcome speech. Charming. Funny. The proud father. Everyone applauded. Then it was my turn. I walked to the microphone. Every eye in the room on me. The black woman. The wife. The mother. About to blow everything up. Thank you all for being here, I said. My voice steady. Clear. Before we eat, I'd like to share something special. A video tribute to Ella. Moments from her life. Growing up. Becoming the amazing woman she is today. Ella's face lit up. Mom, you didn't have to. I wanted to. I smiled at her. You're my daughter. My pride. My joy. And I will always protect you. She looked confused. The lights dimmed. The projector screen lowered. I looked at Robert. His blue eyes met mine. He smiled. Relaxed. Trusting. He had no idea. Eva pressed play. And everything changed. The first slide appeared on the screen. Robert and Isabel. Kissing in the gallery parking lot. The ballroom erupted. Gasps. Whispers. Someone screamed. I stood at the microphone. Watching 300 faces turn from shock to horror. Robert was on his feet. Turn it off. Julia, turn it off right now. But I didn't move. The next slide appeared. Bank statements. Wire transfers. Shell companies. What you're seeing, I said into the microphone. My voice steady, is evidence of systematic fraud. Art forgery. Money laundering. And it's been happening for over 2 years. Marcus stood up. His face red. This is slander. I'll sue you for. Slander requires lying, Marcus. I looked at him. Everything you're about to see is documented. Verified. And already in the hands of the FBI. That's when people noticed. 4 men in dark suits. Standing at the exits. Federal agents. The next slide showed the forged authentication certificates. Helena Strauss's name. The fake museum seals. These documents were used to defraud private collectors. Out of millions of dollars, I continued. Paintings purchased for $100,000 were resold for over $1 million. Based on fake provenance. Fake authentication. Patricia Blake stood up. Tears streaming down her face. Marcus? Tell me this isn't true. Marcus said nothing. Robert was moving toward me now. Pushing through the crowd. Julia, stop this. You're making a mistake. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I pressed the remote. The affair video played. No sound. Just images. Robert and Isabel. In her office. On the couch. The ballroom went silent. Ella made a sound. A broken, wounded cry. I wanted to go to her. Hold her. But I couldn't stop now. The next slide appeared. Financial records. $1.7 million in a secret account. This money, I said, was stolen. From art collectors. From his company. From our daughter's wedding fund. More gasps. Ella's trust fund was used as a money laundering conduit. Her wedding our family was part of the scheme. Ella was crying now. Her friends surrounding her. Robert reached the stage. Grabbed my arm. Enough. His voice was harsh. Desperate. You've humiliated me enough. I looked down at his pale hand on my dark arm. 32 years. I'd let him touch me. Control me. Define me. Not anymore. Let go of me, I said quietly. Julia, please. Let go. Eva appeared from the side. I'd listened to her, Robert. He released me. Stepped back. I returned to the microphone. There's one more thing, I said. One more secret that needs light. I pressed the remote. A birth certificate appeared on the screen. Sophie Cameron Lee. Born August 15, 2008. Father Robert Michael Cameron. The ballroom exploded again. Robert's face went white. No. Julia, don't. My husband has another daughter, I announced. 16 years old. Lives in Baltimore with her mother, Claire Lee. He's been supporting her financially for 15 years. While lying to me. To Ella. To everyone. Ella screamed. What? A photo appeared. A beautiful teenage girl. Mixed race. Asian and white features. Robert's eyes. Her name is Sophie, I said. And she deserves better than a father who hides her existence. Who pays money to keep her secret? Who treats her like a shameful mistake? I looked at Robert. Just like you treated your marriage to me. A youthful indiscretion. Something edgy and revolutionary in the 90s. But inconvenient now. His jaw clenched. I heard the recording, Robert. You and Isabel. Talking about how I'm good at surviving. How the marriage ran its course. How you planned to take the money and disappear. I stepped closer to him. But here's what you didn't understand. I wasn't just surviving. I was investigating, documenting, building a case. I gestured to the screen. Because I'm a restorer, I see what's hidden beneath the surface. The cracks, the forgeries, the lies. The FBI agents were moving now. Walking toward the stage. Robert Cameron, one of them said. We need you to come with us. Robert looked around wildly. At the exits. The crowd. Searching for escape. There was none. Marcus Blake, another agent said. You too. Patricia Blake was sobbing. Her husband held her. Marcus backed away. I want my lawyer. You'll get one, the agent said. At the station. They put handcuffs on both of them. The click of metal was the loudest sound in the room. Robert looked at me as they led him away. His expression was pure hatred. You'll regret this, he said. No, I replied. I really won't. But let me back up. Let me tell you how we discovered Sophie. How all the pieces came together. 3 weeks earlier, Eva and I were in her office. Going through Robert's financial records. There's a pattern here, Eva said. Pointing to her computer screen. Monthly payments. $3,000. Like clockwork. For 15 years. To who? Claire Lee. Baltimore address. I ran a background check. She's a medical technician. No marriage record. But there's a dependent on her tax returns. A child? Sophie Cameron Lee. Born August 15, 2008. My hands went cold. Cameron, I whispered. She has his name. Julia, I'm sorry. But we need to be sure. We need DNA confirmation. I nodded. Numb. How? I have a contact. Private lab. If we can get a sample from Robert and a sample from Sophie. I can get Robert's. His toothbrush. Hair from his brush. And Sophie? I thought about it. We need to meet her. See her. Maybe she'll agree to help. That's risky. Everything about this is risky. 2 days later, I drove to Baltimore. Eva came with me. Claire Lee lived in a modest townhouse in Canton. Nice neighborhood. Good schools. Paid for with Robert's money. We watched the house from the car. At 3:30, a school bus stopped. A teenage girl got off. My breath caught. She looked like Robert, but softer, prettier. Her black hair fell straight down her back. Asian features mixed with Caucasian bone structure. She wore a school uniform. Carried a backpack. She looked normal, happy, innocent. That's her, Eva said softly. I watched Sophie walk up to the front door. Pull out a key. Let herself in. My daughter had a sister. And neither of them knew about each other. What do we do? Eva asked. We tell her the truth, I said. She deserves that much. We knocked on the door 20 minutes later. Claire Lee answered. A small woman, late 40s, Asian, tired eyes. Can I help you? My name is Julia Cameron, I said. Watched recognition flicker in her eyes. I'm Robert's wife. Her face went pale. You know who I am, I said. Not a question. She nodded slowly. Can we come in? She hesitated, then opened the door wider. The inside was neat, modest. Photos of Sophie everywhere. School pictures, dance recitals, birthday parties. A whole life I knew nothing about. Sophie came down the stairs. Mom, who? She stopped when she saw us. Sophie, Claire said quietly. These are some people who need to talk to us. We sat in the living room. Sophie looked at me with Robert's eyes. Curious, wary. I'm not here to cause trouble, I said. I'm here because I just found out about you. And I think you deserve to know the truth. What truth? Sophie asked. About your father, Robert Cameron. She flinched. I know who my father is. He sends money, visits sometimes. He loves us. My heart broke. Sweetheart, I said gently. He's married to me. Has been for 32 years. He has another daughter, your half-sister, Ella. She's 24. Sophie's face crumpled. No, that's not. Mom? Claire looked down. It's true, baby. You knew? Sophie's voice rose. You knew he had another family? Yes. And you just took his money? Let him lie? I did what I thought was best for you. Claire's voice broke. He promised he'd leave her eventually. That we'd be a real family. I believed him. When? I asked. When did this start? Claire wiped her eyes. 17 years ago. I worked at Ashford and Klein. Administrative assistant. Robert was charming, attentive, said his marriage was loveless. That he stayed for his daughter. I felt sick. He said you didn't understand him, Claire continued. That you were cold, distant, that he needed someone who made him feel alive. The same lies he'd told Isabel. Did he ever mention I'm black? I asked. Claire looked uncomfortable. He said marrying you was a political statement he made when he was young. That he regretted it. There it was. The truth beneath all the other truths. I'd been a statement, a rebellion, a trophy proving he wasn't racist. Not a person, not a partner, a prop. I'm sorry, Claire whispered. I didn't know you. I was lonely. And he was convincing. I looked at Sophie, this girl who looked so much like her father. Do you want to meet your sister? I asked. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. I have a sister? Her name is Ella. She's getting married in 3 weeks. Or she was. I paused. Your father and her fiancé are committing fraud together. I'm going to expose them. And I think you should be there. Why? Because you're part of this family. Whether Robert acknowledges you or not. And you deserve to see who he really is. Eva arranged for the DNA test. Sophie agreed. She wanted proof. Wanted to know for certain. We waited 3 days for the results. When they came, Eva called me. 99.999% match. She's definitely Robert's daughter. I closed my eyes. Thank you. Julia, are you okay? No, but I will be. I called Sophie that night. The test came back, I said. You're Ella's half-sister. Silence. Then, does she know about me? Not yet. I want to tell her in person. After the rehearsal dinner. You're really going to do this? Expose everything publicly? Yes. Good. Her voice was hard, determined. He deserves it, for lying to all of us. Would you like to meet Ella? After everything settles? I'd like that. A lot. We talked for an hour. About her life, her dreams, her anger at Robert. She was smart, funny, resilient, like Ella, like me. When we hung up, I felt something shift. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about truth, about honoring all the women Robert had lied to. Me, Claire, Isabel, Sophie, Ella, we all deserved better. 6. 1 week before the rehearsal dinner, Eva and I sat in her office, finalizing the presentation. We have everything, she said. Clicking through the files, photos, bank records, the affair video, DNA results, forged authentication certificates, testimony from Helena Strauss. I looked at the screen. Our case was airtight, undeniable, devastating. The FBI is ready to move, Eva continued. 4 agents will be present. Plain clothes. They'll wait until after your presentation. Then make the arrests. And Patricia Blake? She's agreed to attend. She wants to see it herself. She doesn't believe Marcus could do this. She will. Eva looked at me. Are you sure about this? Really sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. I'm sure. Ella's going to be heartbroken. Ella's going to be saved. From a marriage built on lies. From a man who used her. And Robert? I thought about my husband. 32 years. The man who'd charmed me when I was young. Who'd seemed progressive and open-minded. Who'd actually been collecting minorities like art pieces. Robert made his choices, I said. Now he lives with the consequences. I spent the next week preparing Ella without her knowing. Little conversations. Gentle questions. Are you happy, baby? Really happy? Marcus treats you well? With respect? You know you can always come home, right? No matter what? She'd laughed. Hugged me. Mom, I'm fine. Stop worrying. But I saw the doubt in her eyes. The questions she wouldn't ask. She knew something was wrong. She just didn't know what. 3 days before the rehearsal dinner, I went to my old church in Southeast DC. The church I'd grown up in. Where my mother was buried. I sat in the back pew. The sanctuary was empty, quiet, light filtered through the stained glass windows, casting colors on the wooden floor. I'd been baptized here, confirmed here, married here. Robert had stood at that altar, said vows, promising to love and honor me. In front of God and my community. All lies. Pastor Williams found me there. Julia. His voice was warm. I haven't seen you in years. Hi, Pastor. He sat next to me. Gray hair. Kind eyes. He'd known me since I was a child. Something's troubling you, he said. I told him everything. He listened without judgment, without interruption. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. What you're about to do, he said finally. It will hurt people. Publicly. Permanently. I know. But sometimes, he continued, exposure is the only path to healing. Lies kept in darkness grow. Lies brought to light can be dealt with. I don't feel good about it. You shouldn't. This isn't about feeling good. It's about doing right. He put his hand on mine. Your mother would be proud of you, he said. She always said you had a spine of steel. That you'd stand up when it mattered. Tears filled my eyes. I miss her. She's with you. In here. He touched my chest. Over my heart. Trust that. The night before the rehearsal dinner, I couldn't eat. I sat at my kitchen table, looking at photos of Ella. Baby pictures. First day of school. High school graduation. College move-in. My beautiful daughter. About to have her world shattered. Robert came home late. As usual. He kissed my forehead. Big day tomorrow. You ready? Are you? I asked. He looked at me, searching for something. Of course. Why wouldn't I be? No reason. He poured himself scotch. I've been thinking. After the wedding. After Ella and Marcus settle in. Maybe we should take a trip. Just us. Reconnect. I stared at him. He was planning his exit strategy. His escape with Isabel. And he was lying to me right up until the end. That sounds nice, I said. He smiled. Relaxed. Good. I'll start looking at destinations. He went upstairs. I sat in the kitchen. In the house we'd built together. And I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No regret. Just cold, clear certainty. Tomorrow, everything would change. The Four Seasons ballroom was perfect. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead. White roses covered every table. A pianist played softly in the corner. 300 guests in formal attire. Robert's colleagues. Marcus's associates. Both families. Everyone who mattered. I wore a deep purple gown. My locks were styled in an elegant updo. Gold earrings that had been my mother's. Makeup flawless. I looked beautiful. Powerful. In control. Eva sat at a table near the back. Laptop open. Remote control in her pocket. The FBI agents were scattered throughout the room. Blending in perfectly. Everything was ready. Ella stood at the head table with Marcus. She looked radiant in white. Smiling. Happy. This was the last moment she'd look at him that way. Robert took the microphone first. Thank you all for being here, he said. Charming smile. Confident voice. Tomorrow, we celebrate the marriage of my daughter Ella to Marcus Blake. Two incredible young people, starting their life together. Applause. I'm so proud of Ella. She's smart, beautiful, kind, everything a father could want in a daughter. He looked at me, and I'm grateful to my wife Julia. For 32 years of partnership. For being the foundation of our family. More applause. I stood up, walked to the microphone. Robert handed it to me. Kissed my cheek. Your turn, he whispered. I took the microphone. 300 faces looked at me. The black woman, the wife, the mother, about to destroy everything. Thank you all for being here, I said. My voice steady, clear. Before we eat, I'd like to share something special. A video tribute to Ella. Ella smiled. Mom, you didn't have to. I wanted to. I looked at her. You're my daughter, my pride, my joy, and I will always protect you. No matter what. Her smile faltered. Confused. I nodded to Eva. The lights dimmed. The projector screen lowered. Robert sat down, relaxed, expecting baby photos, childhood memories. The first image appeared. Him and Isabel, kissing in the parking lot. The reaction was instantaneous. Gasps. Screams. People standing up. Robert jumped to his feet. Turn it off. Julia, what are you doing? I didn't answer. The next slide appeared. Bank statements. Wire transfers. What you're seeing is evidence of systematic fraud. I said into the microphone. My voice echoed through the ballroom. Art forgery. Money laundering. Corporate theft. It's been happening for over 2 years. Marcus stood up. His face bright red. This is slander. I'll sue you for everything. Slander requires lying, Marcus. Everything you're about to see is documented. Verified. And already with the FBI. That's when people noticed the agents. 4 men in dark suits. Standing at the exits. The room went silent. The next slides showed the forged authentication certificates. These documents, I continued, were used to defraud collectors out of millions. Paintings purchased for $100,000. Resold for over $1 million. Based on fake provenance. Patricia Blake stood up, tears streaming down her face. Marcus? Tell me this isn't true. Marcus said nothing. Robert was moving toward me, pushing through the crowd. Julia, stop. You're making a mistake. You don't understand what you're. I understand perfectly. The video played. Robert and Isabel. In her office. No sound. Just images. The ballroom erupted. Ella made a sound. A broken cry. I forced myself not to look at her. Not yet. The next slides showed financial records. The secret account. $1.7 million. This money was stolen, I said. From collectors. From Ashford and Klein. From our daughter's wedding fund. More gasps. Ella's trust fund was used to launder money. Her wedding, our family, was part of their scheme. Ella was crying now. Her bridesmaids surrounding her. Robert reached the stage. Grabbed my arm hard. That's enough. His voice was vicious. You've humiliated me enough. I looked down at his pale hand on my dark arm. For 32 years, I'd let him touch me. Control me. Diminish me. Let go of me, I said quietly. Julia, please. Think about what you're doing. I said let go. Eva appeared beside me. I'd do what she says, Robert. He released me. Stepped back. I returned to the microphone. My heart was pounding, but my voice was steady. There's one more thing, I said. One more secret. I pressed the remote. A birth certificate filled the screen. Sophie Cameron Lee. Born August 15, 2008. Father Robert Michael Cameron. The ballroom exploded. Shouts. Screams. People standing. Chairs scraping. Robert's face went white. No. Julia, don't do this. My husband has another daughter, I announced. My voice cutting through the chaos. 16 years old. Lives in Baltimore with her mother. A photo appeared. Sophie. Beautiful. Smiling. Robert's eyes. He's supported her financially for 15 years. While lying to me. To Ella. To everyone in this room. Ella screamed. What? Dad? Dad? Robert couldn't look at her. Her name is Sophie, I continued. She's your half-sister, Ella. And she deserves better than a father who hides her like a shameful secret. I looked at Robert. Just like you treated our marriage. A political statement. Something edgy in the 90s. But inconvenient now. The next slide showed a transcript. Robert's voice. From the recording. I married her when I was young. It seemed revolutionary. Marrying a black woman in the 90s. But that was 30 years ago. People change. The words hung in the air. Everyone stared at him. You used me, I said. My voice breaking now. You used my love, my trust, my blackness, as a trophy, as proof you weren't racist. Tears streamed down my face. While you planned to leave me for a white woman. While you had a child with an Asian woman. We were all just pieces in your collection. Robert said nothing. The FBI agents were moving now. Robert Cameron, one said. We need you to come with us. Marcus Blake. You too. Patricia Blake collapsed into her chair. Sobbing. Marcus backed away. I want my lawyer. You'll get one. At the station. They handcuffed both of them. The metallic click echoed. Robert looked at me as they led him away. Pure hatred in his eyes. You'll regret this, he hissed. No, I said. I really won't. As soon as they were gone, I ran to Ella. She was surrounded by her bridesmaids. Crying. Shaking. Baby, I reached for her. She looked up at me. Her face devastated. You knew? You knew and you didn't tell me? I had to show you. You wouldn't have believed me otherwise. I loved him. Her voice broke. I loved Marcus. I was going to marry him tomorrow. I know, baby. I know. And I'm so sorry. Did you know about Sophie? About Dad's other daughter? Not until 3 weeks ago. I have a sister. She laughed. Hysterical. A sister I never knew about. She's a good kid. Smart. Strong. She wants to meet you. Does she know about me? Yes. I told her. She's been waiting. Ella buried her face in her hands. I wrapped my arms around her. My daughter. My beautiful daughter. Raised by a liar. Almost married to a criminal. But saved. I've got you, I whispered. I've got you, baby. Patricia Blake approached us. her face ravaged with tears. Julia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea, Marcus said. He said it was a legitimate investment fund. I know. If I'd known, I would have stopped him. I swear. It's not your fault. She looked at Ella. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. You deserved better than my son. Ella couldn't respond, just cried. The ballroom emptied slowly. Some people left immediately, embarrassed, shocked. Others stayed, asking questions, offering support. Eva came to my side. The FBI agents said they have enough to charge both of them. Multiple counts of fraud, forgery, money laundering. They're looking at serious time. Good. How are you holding up? I don't know yet. She hugged me. You were so brave, so strong. I didn't feel brave. You never do. That's how you know it's real courage. That night, Ella and I went home. To the townhouse in Georgetown. The house I'd shared with Robert for 30 years. It felt different now, empty, hollow. We sat in the living room, not speaking. Finally, Ella said, "Tell me about Sophie." So I did. I told her everything. How I'd found out. How we'd met. The DNA test. She has his eyes, I said. Like you. Do you have a picture? I pulled out my phone. Showed her. Ella stared at the photo. Tears streaming down her face. She's beautiful. She is. Can I meet her? Whenever you want. Tomorrow? I nodded. I'll call her mother. We sat in silence again. Mom? Ella's voice was small. Yes, baby? Thank you. For protecting me. Even though it hurt. I pulled her close. That's what mothers do, I said. We protect our daughters. No matter the cost. 1 year later, I stood in my new studio. Natural light poured through floor-to-ceiling windows. North-facing. Perfect for restoration work. The space was in Shaw. A historically black neighborhood. Gentrifying now, but still holding its roots. My studio was on the second floor of a converted warehouse. High ceilings. Exposed brick. Beautiful. I'd named it, Restored Art and Truth. A double meaning. Restoring paintings. Restoring lives. On my desk was a photo. New. Taken 2 months ago. 3 women. 3 generations. Me in the middle. Ella on my right. Sophie on my left. My daughters. We were all smiling. Real smiles. Genuine happiness. It had taken time to get here. The first meeting between Ella and Sophie had been awkward. They'd stared at each other. These half-sisters who shared a father. Both of them hurt. Angry. Confused. Hi, Ella had said finally. Hi, Sophie replied. Then they'd hugged. Both of them crying. And something broke open. Something beautiful. Over the following months, they'd gotten close. Discovered shared interests. Music. Art. Old movies. Sophie was artistic. Like me. She loved to paint. Ella was analytical. Like Robert. But without the cruelty. Together, they were healing. Robert's trial had been swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Undeniable. He'd pled guilty to avoid a longer sentence. 5 years in federal prison. $3.2 million in restitution. His career was destroyed. His reputation ruined. Marcus got 7 years. His law license revoked. Isabel Moreau lost her position at the Corcoran. Blacklisted from the art world. Claire Lee kept her job. Her dignity. Her daughter. She and I had become unlikely friends. United by Robert's betrayal. The divorce was finalized 6 months after the rehearsal dinner. I got the townhouse. Half of his legitimate assets. Full custody of the truth. Robert tried to fight it. But his lawyers knew it was hopeless. I saw him once during the proceedings. He looked smaller, older, gray. I loved you, he said. In the beginning. That was real. Maybe, I said. But love isn't enough. Not without respect. Not without honesty. I'm sorry. I know. But sorry doesn't fix what you broke. He nodded. Looked away. That was the last time we spoke. Ella had struggled the most. The humiliation. The betrayal. The cancelled wedding. But she was resilient. Strong. She'd gone back to her architecture firm. Thrown herself into work. And slowly, she'd healed. She'd started therapy. Joined a support group for adult children of narcissists. She'd cut her hair. Got a tattoo. Traveled to Paris alone. She was finding herself. Who she was without Marcus. Without her father's approval. Sophie came to visit every other weekend. She'd enrolled in an art program. Wanted to study painting. You remind me of myself at that age, I told her once. Really? Yes. Determined. Talented. Refusing to be invisible. She smiled. That's the best compliment anyone's ever given me. We painted together. She taught me her techniques. I taught her mine. It was healing. For both of us. One Saturday afternoon, all three of us were in my studio. Ella was sketching building designs. Sophie was working on a portrait. I was restoring a 19th century landscape. Music played softly. Sunlight streamed through the windows. It was peaceful. Beautiful. Mom? Ella said suddenly. Yes? I'm glad you did what you did. At the rehearsal dinner, I looked up, surprised. Really? Yes. I was angry at first. Devastated. But you saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. I hated hurting you. I know. But you loved me more than you hated hurting me. That's real love. Sophie looked up from her painting. I'm glad I met you both, she said. For years, I felt like half a person. Like I didn't fully exist because my father wouldn't claim me. Her voice broke. But now I have sisters. A family. People who choose me. Ella reached over, squeezed her hand. We choose you, she said. I looked at my daughters. These beautiful, strong, resilient women. Both scarred by their father's lies. Both healing. I love you both, I said. So much. We love you too, Mom, they said together. And in that moment, I felt it. Complete. Whole. Restored. Not despite the cracks. But because of them. That evening, I worked late. The studio was quiet. Just me and a painting. It was a self-portrait. Something I'd started 6 months ago. A black woman with locks. Looking directly at the viewer. Strong. Unafraid. Fully herself. I added the final touches. Details in the eyes. Highlights on the skin. Then I stepped back. It was done. The crack in the original canvas was visible. I hadn't tried to hide it. Instead, I'd incorporated it into the composition. Made it part of the story. Because that's what restoration really is. Not hiding damage, but accepting it, integrating it, making it part of the whole. I thought about the last year. The pain, the public humiliation, the divorce, but also the freedom, the truth, the new relationships. The crack in my marriage had nearly destroyed me. But it had also revealed who I really was. Not Robert's wife, not his trophy, not his statement, just Julia, artist, mother, survivor, thriver. I took a photo of the painting. Posted it online. Caption, self-portrait cracked but whole. The true value of a painting isn't perfection. It's the process of finding light again. Same with people. Within minutes, comments appeared. Beautiful. Powerful. This speaks to my soul. I smiled. My phone rang. Eva, I saw your post, she said. It's stunning. Thank you. How are you? Really? I looked around my studio. At the paintings waiting to be restored. At the photo of my daughters. At the life I'd built from the ruins. I'm good, I said. Really good. You sound different. Lighter. I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying something heavy for years. And I finally put it down. Robert? Robert. The marriage. The lies. All of it. I'm proud of you, Julia. What you did took incredible courage. I didn't do it alone. You helped me. We helped each other. That's what sisters do. After we hung up, I locked up the studio. Walked out into the warm evening air. Shaw was alive. Music from restaurants. Laughter. Life. I walked slowly, taking it all in. This neighborhood. This city. This life. All of it mine. Chosen. Created. I thought about my mother. My grandmother. Strong black women who'd survived worse than betrayal. Who'd built lives from nothing. Who'd refused to be broken. I was continuing their legacy. Not just surviving. Thriving. 2 weeks later, there was a knock on my studio door. I looked up from my work. A young black woman stood there. Early 20s. Natural hair. Nervous smile. Can I help you? I asked. Are you Julia Cameron, the restorer? I am. I'm a student at Howard. Art Conservation Program. I saw your work online. Your self-portrait. She hesitated. I wanted to ask, would you consider taking an intern? I want to learn from you. I looked at her. Eager. Talented. Hungry to learn. I saw myself at that age. What's your name? I asked. Maya. Maya Johnson. Come in, Maya. Let me show you what I'm working on. Her face lit up. As I explained my restoration process, I felt something shift. This was the future. Training the next generation. Passing on knowledge. Not just about art, but about life. About seeing what's hidden. About revealing truth. About making broken things whole. That night, I dreamed about my mother. She was in our old church in Southeast, sitting in the front pew. "You did good, baby girl," she said. "I hurt people, Mama. Ella, Sophie, even Robert in a way. You told the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts, but lies hurt more. I miss you. I'm always with you. In your hands. In your work. In the way you love your daughters." She smiled. "You stayed big, Julia. Even when he tried to make you small. You stayed big." I woke up crying, but they were good tears. Healing tears. 6 months later, my first solo exhibition opened. Restored Portraits of Truth. 20 paintings, all self-portraits of women. Black women, white women, Asian women, Latina women, all showing their cracks, their damage, their healing. The gallery was packed. Ella and Sophie stood with me. Proud, supportive. Eva gave a speech. Julia Cameron is more than an artist. She's a truth-teller, a healer, a restorer of not just paintings but lives. People applauded. I looked at the paintings on the walls. Each one told a story. Of pain, of survival, of transformation. My story, but also universal. A reporter approached me. "Ms. Cameron, your story has inspired so many people. What would you say to women going through similar betrayals?" I thought about it. I'd say trust yourself. When you see the cracks, don't ignore them. Investigate them, because the truth, no matter how painful, is always better than a beautiful lie. Any regrets? About exposing my husband? No. About the pain it caused? Yes. But sometimes love means telling hard truths, even when it costs you everything. What's next for you? I looked at my daughters. My studio, my new life, more restoration, more art, more truth. That night, after everyone left, I stood alone in the gallery. Looking at my paintings, the self-portrait hung in the center. The one with the visible crack. I traced the line with my finger. That crack had almost destroyed me. But it had also set me free. Because once you stop hiding the damage, you can finally heal. I thought about Robert. In prison now, paying for his crimes. I didn't hate him anymore. I didn't love him either. I felt nothing, and that was okay. He was part of my past. Part of my story, but not my future. My phone buzzed. A text from Ella. "Mom, Sophie and I are so proud of you. Thank you for showing us what strength looks like." Attached was a photo. The two of them, arms around each other, smiling. Sisters, family, built not on blood alone, but on truth, on choice, on love. I smiled. Typed back, "I'm proud of you both. You're the best thing I ever created." I left the gallery, walked out into the cool night air. The city sparkled around me. Alive, beautiful, full of possibility. I was 52 years old. Starting over, starting fresh. And for the first time in 32 years, I was completely free. Free to be myself, without compromise, without apology. Just Julia, cracked but whole, damaged but restored, broken but beautiful, and finally at peace.